My name is Jessica Desmoulin, and I am from pretty much all across Canada. I was born in Saskatoon, but I've lived in Ontario, I've lived in Saskatchewan, I've lived in BC, and I've lived in Alberta. Alberta's most of my life. My reserve is in Thunder Bay, Ontario, so I like to claim that that's where my roots should be, or where I am. I'm Bictagong Anishinaabe, and I am an artist. I've done being an artist for a little over 15 years. Kind of on the late side. I'm 44, so it took a while for me to find that. One of the reasons why I chose to be an artist was because I was trying to reconnect with my own Indigenous side of my culture and my identity. And then I also ride motorcycles. I've joined a motorcycle group to help with that connection as well. The most important thing that I do right now feels like the motorcycle riding, the connection that I have with the men on this journey and with the women that I've come in contact with since this has brought me closer to my own Indigenous learning than the art has. The art was an original reach out for that, and it never gave me that connection that I needed. It's a very isolated world. It's very hard to get into being an artist and becoming known and all of that. But with the motorcycles, that camaraderie and that mentality and that group of individuals made it very easy to ask questions and to want to learn and to be safe asking those questions and not feeling like you should have known better or you didn't know enough. So it's kind of both right now. Red Spirit Women's Motorcycle Riding Club stands on the foundation of community, motorcycling, positivity, responsibility, fundraising, mutual support, and sisterhood. As an organization, we are conscious and caring for our families, our environment, and our communities. Our founding principles and values are based on Native American principles, but we favor no single race or ethnic group, and membership is open to every ethnicity. The race we represent is the great human race, all humanity. The foundation of this club is bringing together and unifying women in a larger collective voice and visibly to create opportunities for women to flourish, not just on motorcycles, but in the world at large. So a part of why I found them was because I think when you're on a motorcycle, it's a very powerful instrument. You feel empowered. I wanted to feel my own power. I don't ride on the back of somebody else's motorcycle. I cannot give that control to somebody else. I want to have control of myself, my future, how I want to be perceived even. So when I seen the Red Rum guys, I seen them pull up in a store in Edmonton, and I was like, wow, that's an Indigenous symbol on their back. They have a chief on their back. They have the feathers, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. There was a black gentleman, there was a native gentleman, there was white gentleman. And I was like, because when you see other MCs, a lot of them they're really dominated by their own race. Like you can see that there's no arguing that, or there's no reason to explain it even. But when I seen what they were doing, I was like, that's pretty impressive. So I looked them up. And then lo and behold, they have a sister club. And I was like, yes. I looked that up even further, and I was like, if I could be a part of showing, to me it was, I found my power, and I knew that I wanted to share that and show other young girls that it's okay to have their own power, that they don't need to depend on a man to be on their own journey, that they can do it on their own. So that's why I chose to do it. And then when I got more into it, I found that there was a lot more to do with, there's a lot of people trying to find and connect with their own culture that have lost it. So, and that was it was a bonus for me. It was first finding out that I have sisters and that I can be a part of a group, and then finding out that I have brothers that also want me to be a part of a group, and we all want to learn, and we have been bringing in people to learn, and it's been amazing. So that's part of why I've been joining it. For me personally, it's been helping my mental health and my own spirituality. Like, I did not identify as Indigenous until I was probably 25 or 26 years old. I even have friends that have talked to me from high school that were like, we knew you were, but we never said anything about it. Nobody said anything about it. We didn't talk about it. And I'm like, I knew I was too, but I had so many instances happen when I was young about like racism. When they see me with my dad was a white man, red hair, freckles, I got treated differently. When I was with my mother, who was very Native, you can tell she's Native, I got treated differently again. So this journey so that struggle was always in my head when I was younger. Always, I wanted to be Native. I wanted to be like my mom. I love my mom, but she didn't have her culture either. So we were both in this. We know that people are being racist towards us. We know that we're being treated differently, but we didn't have the backing of our culture and knowing to say, hey, it's okay. You can feel your way and I'll be okay about it because I know who I am. We didn't have that. So now, like I said, I was 25 when I identified as Indigenous, maybe even later, not really thinking about it. Now, just doing the sage, just doing the smudging, being a part of a pipe ceremony has brought so much healing. And like, you can breathe, right? Like, it's okay to feel the way I did. Now I know why it hurt so bad when I was treated differently. And I know now that I have the ancestors. I know that it's there. I know that the spirituality is there. I know I have support. And I know even when I'm by myself, I know that I have my ancestors with me. So, well, I have a cousin that's in Ontario, and we all grew up the same way. Like, we all grew up away from our culture. We all grew up away from being to identify as this. I guess that would be a part of that residential school repercussions, right? So we're the grandchildren of the repercussions. Like, my grandmother was in residential schools. She survived it. She, in the past 5 years, has been talking about it, and it's horrific. It's pretty horrific stuff. And then I've had also an auntie and uncle from residential school that they weren't in there long, but they were in there long enough to have the damage. So the repercussions of that is grandmother took them away from the reserve, and then she was that one where they made her hate herself. They made her hate her own Indigenous, so they didn't practice anything. They didn't practice smudging. They didn't go to powwows. They didn't do any of that because she hated it. She hated that part of herself. They made her that way. Then my mother, being kind of the black sheep of the family, same thing. The Indigenous part was gone. She was a maniac, alcoholism. That was just the way it was. A party. I just remember everything was a party when we were younger, and it was always that way. And then my generation, me and my cousins, were all like, hang on, we don't have to be that way. We know that there's alcoholism and drug and alcohol abuse in the family. We know that's there. We decided we didn't want to have that. So in our way, I've been able to do more smudging, which brings my mom in, and she's doing more smudging. We've been doing beading. We found our beading. We taught ourselves, but we know that we've been sharing that with everyone. Everyone's like, well, how did you learn how to bead? Well, we had to teach ourselves. We didn't get that from our history, like from our culture. We had to teach it and learn it. But by us doing that, everyone's like, well, and then the conversation happens. And then we get to talk about why we didn't know it before and why we know it now, right? And then people are seeing us from the reserve. People are like, I've had people reach out, my mom's cousins were reaching out to me on Facebook asking how my mom was. And so she's gotten that connection back. So us doing what we're doing, and like the art and the beading and the social media has created a connection back to her, and people are reaching out to us asking us how we're doing, and then seeing our stories. And yeah, so kind of that. I remember, because I never, like I said, I never identified as Indigenous when I was young, right? One of the first interactions I remember, my school had young Native dancers come. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. I remember seeing this guy's hair, and it was just so long and shiny black and amazing. I was like, that's the most beautiful hair I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I've never seen, and it was long all the way down. And he was young, like my age. And they started singing and they started dancing, and I started just crying. I can't even help myself. I'm watching them and I'm happy, but tears are just flowing down my face, and I'm like, oh my God. And my friends are like, are you okay? And I'm like, you don't even know how like how my whole body, my heart, everything. But I didn't know why. I didn't know why. And then, but that was those same friends that were like, we knew you were Native. We knew that, but we never talked about it. Never said anything. Nobody asked me, and I never acted like what they thought, like it was just not there. And then, so that was my first kind of awakening of, I don't have this in my life, right? And then there was another time I went to Head Smashed and Buffalo Jump. And then, so me and a boyfriend went there, and he was taking me around. We were looking around the museum, thought it was pretty cool. And then this elderly man came, and he went, because there was a teepee in the museum. And this is like, I was like 17, maybe 17. So it's a long time ago. And then, so there's this huge teepee, and this Native gentleman comes, and he's all by himself, and there's a drum, and he starts singing on the drum. And I'm walking through, and I can hear him singing, and I thought, well, that's just amazing. And I thought it was part of the museum, whatever was there. And I'm crying, going around, and I'm crying. I'm looking at things, and I'm crying. And my boyfriend at the time was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just don't worry about it. I can't even help myself. I could be talking, and tears are coming out, and I can't even do nothing about it. Like, there's nothing." and then I go and see him, and I meet this elderly man, and he was happy to see me. And I said, "I'm sorry for crying. I don't even know what this is. I can't help myself." And he said it was okay, and he gave me a hug, and he's like, "Don't worry about it." And then he left. And then when we were leaving, I was telling the museum people, I'm like, that is the coolest thing that you guys have him come in. And they were like, no, he just comes in and does it whenever he wants. He just randomly, you're lucky you got to see him today, because we haven't seen him for a while. I'm like, really? So I got to be a part of that. And that was, yeah, another part of that, recognizing that it's not in my life at that time. And then it was, yeah. So then I was from then, it was alcohol and drugs, and I didn't give a shit about myself, and didn't realize where's all this coming from, you know what I mean? And then I had kids, and I was like, okay, smarten up, that I got to be there for them. And I did. I chose them. I've participated in, I've learned how to smudge properly. That's something that's only been, like, I've tried before and not really understood it and had that connection. And now I do. And now I understand it. Now I do it quite regularly when I feel down, when I get up, and I want to bring that, my own personal way of connecting, right? And then the pipe ceremony that was here, that was amazing. And yeah, I cried. I couldn't help it. I cried. And it's not out of sadness, it's out of happiness, definitely. Things that I want to learn and participate in is the powwows, the regalia, the learn more again about pipe ceremony, to participate in that. And a sweat is one of the things that I've never had the opportunity. People have said and invited, but nobody's really full on committed to that invitation, so I haven't had that opportunity yet. For me, it's because I'm still learning as well. And as I learn, I'm sharing which is, I think, the only way. Knowledge is power. Everybody says that, but it's true. It can bring connection. It can cause conversations. It can create, uh, as long as there's no judgment, there's conversation that can be free. Like, because I know myself personally, I get scared that I'm going to ask something and offend somebody, or I'm going to ask something and they're gonna be like, that's the stupidest question on the planet. Well, I'm gonna ask it anyways. I'm at the age now where it's like, I don't care what you think about me personally. This is something that I need to know and I want to learn. So if you think it's a stupid question, I'm gonna ask it still anyways, and I'm gonna share that information because I know my children don't know it, and I know that my husband, he doesn't know it. Like my husband now doesn't know it. Even I have an ex mother-in-law who's a little bit she's an old Ukrainian, so there's a lot of old racism in her heart that she doesn't know that she can let go, and she has since she's met me. So I know that non-Indigenous people, even if they have that old racism and they don't even know it, a lot of them have no idea when they talk or the way they talk. It's not even something, it's so ingrained in them that they don't even know that they're being that way. And with us, even me just learning and sharing as kind as possible, as patient as possible, I know that chipping away that old hate that they have, that they don't even know that they have, is something that I get to participate with and do as I learn and as I grow. I hope to help the knowledge keepers, and I hope to help the people who want to share our culture open doorways. My ignorance can help them navigate and how to talk to somebody else with ignorance. And ignorance isn't, I'm not saying it in a bad way, it's just because I don't have the knowledge. And them teaching me and people talking to me and me asking the stupid questions or whatever is helping them navigate to be able to talk to somebody who's non-Indigenous, who does want to know. And prepare. Hopefully my stupid questions can help them prepare for the stupid questions that they're going to get. Like, because it's not, and I don't mean stupid, it's you want to know, but that hesitancy of asking and trying to figure out, well, how's best to ask somebody who has all this knowledge, to ask them to share that knowledge without offending them, and I haven't come across that yet anyway, so I'm not even, it's something that is something that I feel that I have that hindrance, and I know that the next person might have that hindrance. And when they see me and I'm asking the questions and I want to know, then hopefully they can see that in the next person that is asking the questions and wants to know, and knows that hopefully sharing with me will help them navigate an easier way to share with somebody else. The reason why I joined the riding club was because I didn't know how to participate in that, and I wanted to support it, and I wanted to show people and create conversations and to bring awareness. But how do I do that? I'm not very outgoing. I might seem like I am, but I'm not. And the motorcycle gives me the power, and the cut helps me with the power to know, like, I have support and I have people behind me to say, hey, it's okay. I don't have a direct connection to any missing and murdered Indigenous women, but I can feel it. I can hear it. I can see it. I've maybe come close to having interactions when I was younger. A random stranger trying to give me a ride in an alley, which was, like, to me was boggling, but there's women that have done that. And I'm in those situations, it's like, how do I spread a conversation and create awareness and give young girls a power, say, hey, you don't have to be in that situation. You can say no, it's fine. And the more I have this and people see me with this, I know that I can help spread awareness and spread conversation. Somebody comes up to me and asks, oh, I love your stickers. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, that's what this is for. This is, we ride and we do peace and positivity, and we are there spreading a message. They see me on this ride, they see the ribbons. It's like, well, those are 73 names that I have from missing and murdered Indigenous women just in Canada, not North America, just in Canada. And that's not even, I could cover my whole bike in ribbons. And that's the conversation that I get to have with people because of where I'm at right now that can help with that spreading awareness, and offering support to people who have had that in their lives. I've showed up to the MMIW march, and I got to tell them that I have no direct connection, but I feel all of it. I can see all of it. I have compassion for all of you in the best way that I tell them I will help spread the message. I'll keep the conversation going, and that's all that I can do, the best that I can do. So